Coming up on the show, No Man's Sky, Batman Telltales, and rumours on the new Nintendo NX. All coming up on the Always Games TV show. Always Games TV show, episode 13. Hopefully we won't have any bad luck, except we've got a black cat on the table. I've just realised that kind of works hand in hand. Anyway, I'm your host, Roger Knowles, as always, and I'm joined by the wonderful Tom Simpson once again.
Hi.
And we're joined by Mark Stevens. Hello,
Good
sir.
evening.
How are we doing?
All right, so how are we all doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. How are you? You alright, Tom?
Yeah, I'm good.
You good? You
There's a cat attacking my headphones on.
Hopefully she'll behave herself for the whole show. Anyway, so what have we all been up to? Over to you, Mark, because I ain't really spoken to you much recently. What have you been playing in the old gaming verse?
Most recently, well, the last game I played was Final Fantasy IX for the PC. I did the 24-hour charity run of that and completed that. That was really fun to play through again.
How did you find the ending? Because I noticed you did a couple of posts up on Facebook. There was a final boss thing that you were sorting out. Or what were going on there? Because I've never played Final Fantasy IX. I think we say every time you mention Final Fantasy, I'm like, yeah, never played it. Yeah, never played it. So what happened at the end then? Explain that. Tell me through it.
So when I previously this year I did because there were charity streams for Cancer Research UK. I did Final Fantasy VIII in February. And we finished that around 24 hours, and then Final Fantasy VII, which is a bit of an odd order, but I realised best finish them off PS1 in April, and that only took about 23 and a half hours. They were finished fine, but Final Fantasy IX, we basically finished through the whole game, which, when you don't play them often, it's hard to remember all what you should be doing for them. So you get towards the end of the game, but because you've been doing it in one sitting, you're not really doing any side quests or leveling up or doing anything like that. You're just going straight through the game. You're a bit underpowered for it. And we got to the end boss and we beat him, but then there's actually like an end boss after him, and he is a right pain. In Final Fantasy IX, the end boss, I'm not going to spoil anything like that, has a lot of status ailments he'll put on your team, and no matter how you've kind of like leveled up through the game or what you've done, these status ailments can kind of just take out your whole party. It's at random. Like there's 20 different kinds you can get hit by, like petrify, stop, death, zombie, poison, slow, sleep, things like that. And it picks random ones and might apply any of them to your party, and you can like defend against some of them with your equipment. But we didn't really have any good equipment, so we got to this boss. And I tried him a few times, and it won't going down. It was 23 hours and like 40 minutes, and I'm like, we're right at the end of this game. I'm dying here. I'm like, sorry, going, please finish. Because I estimated to finish the game at 20 hours. I'm like, oh yeah, Final Fantasy IX's a short one. We'll get that done. And we were just struggling through, and I thought, damn it. But on the bless you.
Thank you. Sorry. I'm trying to do it as slowly as possible. Like, I'll keep up to the side. Go, keep on.
Dabbing in the corner there.
I feel another one coming. Keep going.
Bless you.
Bless you, yeah.
In the new release they did for it, for PC, Android, and iOS, they added on a few extra functions for people who, like, you know, I don't want to say like casual, but it's the general like consensus for it is that you can click an option that gives you levels all your characters to level 99, which is the maximum level, puts all your abilities to be learned, and gives you maximum money in the game. So you can press those at any time, and you can't turn them off again. That's your like save change to that style.
Right.
And at 20 minutes to go, I went, right, sod it, we need to finish the game on time. Press the buttons, and then we did beat him after 2 attempts, which still showed how hard he was. That it still took 2 attempts, and then we got the end cutscene, and it all wrapped up about 24 hours, 15 minutes, something like that. So it still just went over, which was fine. I was knackered, but
I'm not surprised.
well, yeah, I couldn't live with it though. Then like it was eating away at me. I'm like, oh damn it, we finished all the other ones on time. We managed to finish the games. It's meant to just be 24 hours, but it were eating away at me because I played the game when it first came out, like 20. Well, no, it might have been 2004 or something like that. Maybe more. Might have been less actually. I don't know. It was a while ago. PS1 age, so it was the last game, kind of the PS1. And I'd finished that when I was a kid, and I thought, well, I can finish it then, I can finish it now. So I booted it back up again the other day, put an extra 2 hours in, finished it all up, and then just recorded just the boss battle and re-uploaded that onto Facebook and said, right, here's me beating him properly without using the weird abilities and stuff. He's done now.
You feel like your own mentality is like, I've got it so it's like I know what you mean when you get to a point in a game like that and it eats away at you when you feel like that's not gone how I want it to. I actually went back and played Witcher 3 Game Plus mode and just happened to choose a different selection of dialogue and ended up having a fight with one of the with this witch woman and ended up killing her. And I didn't want to kill her and I was like, oh dude, and I played it for another 10 minutes and I went, nope. Reload back for about like half an hour before and replayed it and I was like, right, there we go, that's what I want. And it just, you get that sort of niggling where you just don't feel happy. But yeah,
that's Dark Souls 3 in a nutshell for me. I've not finished that yet, but I've restarted it about 4 times because something keeps happening. I'm like, no, new game.
Not happy. This will not happen this way.
Yeah, exactly.
So can we check out the recording of your 24-hour live stream?
Yes, Final Fantasy 7 and 9 are still on my Twitch channel on the highlights section. Final Fantasy 9 recently went on there at twitch.tv/SFO_ZXMX. If you go to my highlights, you can view the whole thing there, all 24 hours if you fancy it.
Well, if you got a bit of a spare day, well, a couple of days, can you still donate to the charity as well?
Yeah, the Just Giving page is up as well. If you search for Final Fantasy 9 charity stream on there or Mark Stevens ZXMX, one of those things, it should come up generally.
Cool. I'll leave a description in the below as well, so then basically everybody can click through and sort out and be able to either donate or watch the stream. But no, I've got to admit, say that you've done 3 now. Did you say? That is good going, man. That is really good going. Unfortunately, like I said, I only stuck around for 3 or 4 hours for this one. I think the one before, I managed to stay for about 8 or 9.
You were there for most of 7. I remember that a lot. 'Cause I was surprised.
I was just trying to work out the story because everybody raves on about Final Fantasy 7. I went, right, I will figure out the story. I'll work out what's going on. And I ain't got a freaking clue. I remember just sat there, just like, who's that? And I know who Cloud is now.
Aren't they remastering number 7?
Yes, they are doing the remaster, but it's the way that they're going down. It looks more action based, and I don't feel it's gonna. Well,
is it not turn based?
No, which I think it could be. They could miss something here with it. But
isn't that like a key part of the game?
Has the more of the newer ones gone down that sort of path now?
Well, 15 that's coming out soon. That's definitely all about the action with some of your RPG elements to it. But 14 was an online MMO. 13 was still turn-based, but had a lot more, reactive things you could do in it. 12 was the last standard one, but it wasn't turn-based in that. You kind of it was almost like you controlled one character at a time of your party of 3 and walked around an open world where you could see all the enemies so that fights didn't just start. And you set your abilities before fights. They were called gambits. So it said things like, cast fire if you've got more than 75% MP and use a potion if you've got less than 20% health, stuff like that. You set them all up and then just they'd auto attack and do their moves based on how you'd set them. So you kind of did all your turn-based strategy before the fight started, which
there's something about traditional turn-based strategy I do enjoy though. I never played the Final Fantasies, but I got massively into Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. Really, really enjoyed that, and that was sort of my turn-based game. If I think of turn-based, that's the game I think of. I kind of sort of stumbled across it because that was the time when I was Lord of the Rings films were coming out, mad Lord of the Rings fan, and just played all the games. But that was sort of my introduction to turn-based, I'd say. In all honesty, I never really sort of played the Final Fantasies. But
I've never played Final Fantasy, but I have got Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2 remastered editions. But I haven't played them yet, so.
They require commitment sort of game to play though. It's not, you can't just sort of. I've always sort of thought about it. It's like if you've got a spare hour, that's not enough time to play Final Fantasy. You need about 3 hours minimum.
Well, it's funny that because that's always been my mentality with RPGs, and I go through this weird cycle where if I don't finish one and I play something else for a few months, and I go, oh, I'll get back on that. I have to start it again to get back into the story. But from doing these 24-hour runs, I found you can actually get through them quite quick if you just actually stick to the main part of it. Because I suppose The Witcher is a good example of that. Is an RPG game. All in all, it's very action played, and so is Dark Souls to some extent. But you wouldn't want to put just an hour in, but you can do. So 10, I think 10 is probably the best starting point for anyone wanting to try Final Fantasy because the remaster of it works quite well for that. So it's generally a lot easier to get used to and get a feel for, and then you can work a bit older if you wanted to. But a lot of people mainly know turn-based for Pokemon games these days.
Well, that was good point actually. No, that was probably my introduction to turn-based actually, like strategies. I totally forgot about Pokemon. But like, at what point did they change them from traditional turn-based to this more action-based? Because was it in the PS2 sort of time?
It was like the end of the PS2, the start of the PS3. There were a lot of things because there was a lot of controversy around. You won't know in the game, maybe you might do actually. It was for the Xbox 360 called Lost Odyssey. That was an RPG.
Like 4 discs. It was massive.
Yeah. Absolutely huge. But that was by Mistwalker Studios, I think they were called. But they were comprised of previous Final Fantasy staff that had left the company, like the original Final Fantasy staff. And they made that turn-based game, but a lot of the reviews for it, because it was one of the best RPGs you can play. I still recommend it now. I wish they'd do a PC release of it, to be honest.
It's a little bit weird though, isn't it?
Yeah, it got slated in reviews as average or above average, 6, 7, and 8, nothing higher than that. And they all kept saying in the reviews, turn-based game. That's pretty much the only thing they could say bad about it, but it played great. It's like Pokemon.
It's not a bad, I don't think you can use turn-based as a bad sort of way of describing a game, because if it's a style of game which is turn-based, then it's turn-based. It's no sort of, I got to admit, I remember looking back when I was really young, and if someone said a turn-based strategy, I'd be like, well, no, I'm not into that sort of. But I think as I've got older, like I say, introduction to Pokemon, Lord of the Rings, Middle-earth, Shadow Mordor, and as I've got older, I've got more into turn-based strategy because I feel like it gives me a little bit more time to prep. Because if I play an RTS, for example, strategy game, I'm just simply not fast enough thinking to be able to get ready. And it's just because obviously that's about speed and making sure you've got that building. Whereas as now, if I'm turn-based, I'm a bit more sort of ploddy, and I can plod along and go, right, he's going to do that move, and I'm going to then do this move. Yeah. But, yeah. So what's the plans for the future then for more charity streams?
So I'm hoping in October to do Final Fantasy X, the PC version of that. That would be the 4th one, because originally I was planning on doing 4 in total, because it was going to be one per season almost. Mm-hmm. So we did spring, summer. No, hang on. What have I done? I did February. So I've done 3, but I don't know what seasons I've done actually. I must have counted this as autumn, even though it feels like it was summer. So I've somehow done a bit too close together.
I guess you could do.
Because February would have been spring, and then technically April would have been summer. Yeah. And so this was just autumn.
Well,
this winter.
Well, yeah. I guess you could class it as autumn, because if you ran into then again, give it another few months, you could be running into winter anyway. So it'll be heading that way.
Well, that's it.
So what are your feelings? Are you going to do any form of streaming with the new Final Fantasy that's coming out? Are you going to be looking at that at all?
It's a weird one, is that, because they've announced recently that they're doing a re-release of Final Fantasy 12, the HD remaster, which was the last PS2, and that looks quite nice as well. So my actual current aim would be to do 10 in October. 12 doesn't come out for the PS4 or the PC until 2017. So I was going to do something ideally in December, a bit of a Christmas finish off, because so far we've raised something like £850 or something like that, and I wanted to get about £1,000 if possible for the year, just to kind of round it off as a nice number. So I was hoping to do the next stream and maybe a Christmas one to finish that off, but they've pushed me to next year sadly. But 15 I am interested in, but I don't think I'll buy it on launch. I think I'll wait for the PC one on that rather than PS4, just because I played the original demo that you got if you played Final Fantasy Type 0, I think it was called. Apologies if it's not that, I forget. And that demo, before I played that demo, I wasn't sold on the game because from appearance-wise, Final Fantasy's changed a lot for me from being very, I don't know, colourful, different, weird characters, stuff like this, to this looks like Backstreet Boys on tour.
Yes, it does.
And that's what put me off because the further HD we got with these games, like from 13 onwards, it just became pretty boy and girl the game.
That actually may have enhanced the trailer slightly if it had pulled up and they were going, everybody. That probably would have, I would have been gone, and where do I pre-order it? I'll play that game. Oh, dear.
But no, it looks, after playing the demo, it feels really interesting, but it seems a bit choppy on the current PS4. I feel like this is going to be one of the key games that might work well with the PlayStation Neo when that comes out, or whatever it's meant to be called now, because I think just that little bit more power would help push it along, because it seemed like the frames were quite low and some of the models were quite pixelated on the edges. There's a lot of detail to look at, so some screenshots right now look really nice, but I felt that way with Bloodborne to some extent as well, that in screenshots the game looks nicer than in motion, but it is still a gorgeous game. So Final Fantasy 15 is absolutely gorgeous looking, Bloodborne's gorgeous, but again, if that had have said it's going to get a PC release, I'd have waited for PC on that too, just because it's more of a longevity thing for me. It'll look nice, it'll either look equally nice now or a little bit nicer, but then I own it on PC, so whenever I upgrade my PC I can go back to it and I've just got it then.
Yeah. No, it's a good shout, to be absolutely honest. So check out in the description below for Mac's live stream and for donating to Cancer Research UK. Like I said, but your streams are absolutely spot on. They really are, quality-wise. Like, your internet is seriously to die for. I was like, great, yeah. Like, I wish I had your internet. I've clicked on it before and I was just like, and I was actually looking, going, what has he got set up? I'm like, yeah, your internet's just amazing. Good quality.
I was going to say, really gear-wise, it's all really cheap stuff I use. Like, it's a cheap camera, it's a cheap microphone, it's all just like borderline stuff, but the internet, it costs about equal to them.
No, good, really, really good quality live stream. So, well, to be honest, we've said before the show, actually, what we've both been playing. It's pretty much No Man's Sky. You've been playing Rebel Galaxies, though, which was free on PlayStation Plus this month. That
probably more than No Man's Sky.
So to talk us through Rebel Galaxy, what's that about?
It's a 3D game, but you can't go up or down, so it's locked to one plane. And it's got like old naval style broadside, so you can go up against an enemy ship and then you can go sideways and broadside them with a full barrage. And the music in it is like a sort of Western, sort of American feel. It's pretty cool, actually.
So, like, how does it play out? Is it resource gathering? I'm in the No Man's Sky, right? So resource gathering, exploration.
Yeah, you can be a trader. You can go and mine. You can be a pirate if you wanted to be, but still progressing the main story. Or you could join the militia and still progressing the main story. It doesn't affect it either way. Or you can just be a loner and just kill everyone. It's up to you. Just do what you want, really.
It seems quite a vast game for being free on PlayStation Plus.
It's really, really good for a free game. I'd highly recommend it. If you like space sims, don't let the one playing thing put you off like it did me for a bit, because it doesn't. It's really.
You said before it reminded me very much of a naval sort of combat.
Yeah, it's pretty much naval combat in space, but you can upgrade everything from your warp drive to your jump drive to your sublight engines to your turrets, your secondaries, your broadsides. There's so much to do with it. It's really, really good. Bounties as well.
Cool. No, good to me. That is free on PlayStation Plus right now. I did add it to my library, but I hadn't had a chance to sort of download it. As I said, another space game came along and just sort of totally distracted me.
Not even stuck in one solar system either. There's jump gates to about 14 to 16 other systems because it's randomly generated.
All right.
It's not random. It's like a roll. So, say you start one game, you start it again. The stations and stuff will be in different places, and there might be a different number of systems in different places. So, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd have to definitely have to check that one out. I could talk about No Man's Sky, but that'll probably pretty much just take us into the first topic. So we might as well just run straight into the first topic. So the first topic of today is No Man's Sky and our thoughts. Now, Mark, you have not played No Man's Sky, is that right?
That is correct.
Cool. Now, you actually explained before we started recording. Go through the reason why you were initially interested, but then decided not to purchase it.
Yeah. Well, whenever it was originally being teased and shown, and the original footage for the game, I was quite excited about it then, because it was on the big list of these PS4 games you pretty much want to get in the next couple of years. like The Witness and No Man's Sky and things like kind of the indie side were being shown. And I'd looked into it and thought, yeah, this looks pretty decent. But after following the developer and their like kind of any tidbits we got from it for the next year or so, they kept pushing it back to work on it and do things like that. I slowly got less interested in the game because it's not like anything really the game's fault. It's more just my take on it that it looks like the kind of game where there's a lot to do in it, but it's that whole the way they've created the game using algorithms and things like that to actually generate worlds based on certain rules and things like that. They're all kind of limited on what is going to be different in the gameplay then because nothing's been handcrafted in there. So I don't think there's many scripted events or things to do or anything like that. From the look of it originally, it sounded like here is all these millions of planets, you'll never get to really see all of them. You can go to as many as you want and do what you want. But for a sandbox game where the sandbox is, unlimited galaxies, it felt like you'd play it for a bit and be really interested and really like, wow, this is great, and look at that, I've never seen this combination. Then after a bit, you'll start noticing certain things that are all grounded in the same rules that are just being changed slightly. Mm-hmm. So, this planet 5 is not like Planet 1 apart from the sky is green and the ground is blue, and that elephant has wings, whereas on the other planet it had no legs, and it's just changing odd bits or whatever, and you go, I can get some more gear here and sell it, but I don't know why you'd want to get the stuff and sell it and go do more things. So
it's really funny what you've just said because that pretty much sums it up.
Oh god!
Right on the spot. It is a very good game. I like what they've achieved is something quite intriguing and it's unbelievable. Like they be able to create all this stuff.
It's not completely true. There are free paths you can go down.
Well, there is.
Yeah.
Oh, I ain't played enough of it yet.
Yeah, no, there's sort of free paths that lead you in different directions and do different things, and that's separate to go in.
Yeah, well, I found the multipass for the galaxy, a different direction you can go if you wish to.
Yeah.
But when you were saying about like the idea of with the planets and stuff like that, and the idea of just collecting more resources, and it is extremely repetitive. Like it's like the planets look slightly different, but also quite similar. Unless you get to pretty much a water planet.
About 3 or 4 of the planets I've been to looked exactly the same. Apart from one of them was a giant dinosaur with a turkey head. It was kind of strange.
Like you say, it's literally, I found with the planets is they're very similar looking. The terrain probably a different colour. The sky's slightly different colour and the water's slightly different colour. The creatures are different, but they also look very similar as well as the previous planet. A lot of the plants that grow there are very similar as well. Some of them are actually repeated. They look actually they're actually identical, but they class them as a different species. So when you find them, you sort of gather their information and then put them to your encyclopedia. It's like I got to admit, it sounds like I've been quite negative on it. I'm actually really enjoying it.
I was going to say, despite all that, it is quite good.
It gives that sort of element of just a bit longer. I just want to play it just a little bit longer, and it does give a lot of that. If you like exploring terrain, it adds a lot of that.
Roger, are you a hoarder?
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like last night I was playing it, and I had basically my starter ship. It was a bit naff. It wasn't very good. And you basically have 3 things to look after, and that's your suit that you're wearing, your ship, and basically your gun, which is called a multi-tool. It can be used lethal and for breaking down objects for minerals and elements. And they're the main 3 things that you're going to upgrade. So to upgrade your suit, you will need to find schematics, which you can craft, which will give certain elements to it. Like one of the first ones you find is like run faster, like basically you can sprint for a little bit. Another one is you automatically get the jetpack. And the one I've just found is it gives me ability to actually breathe underwater for a lot longer. And also I think like extra health or something along those lines, I can't really remember. But what you can also then do to create more slots for your exosuit sort of thing, you can discover randomly generated areas where there'll be like a little building, you'll walk in and then you'll gain an extra slot, which you can carry more items or have an extra ability like crafted and put onto you. Then you get to your gun, which is very, very similar layout. It's just more slots. You're going to craft abilities to put into it. and it will make it more effective on mining or in combat. Suit, exactly the same. There's slots. If you then decide to get a better better ship, you can either buy them off other NPCs or find crashed ones which are randomly dotted on the planet. And if it's luckily better than yours, you can salvage it and basically re-put it back together and have a slightly better ship, which will again bring you more slots.
And then you'll lose all your upgrades and stuff on your current ship.
Yeah. So basically, you totally scrap your other ship. You don't gain anything from that. It's gone.
All your hyperdrive fuel,
Yep.
Everything's gone, and that's a pain in the ass to find. Is hyperdrive fuel.
So basically, it's very wash, rinse, and repeat, and it's kind of like you're just constantly exploring, learning. The one aspect of it I do actually quite like is the actual alien language system, where you'd find little these cylinders, and they'll gain you access to one word, and it will translate an alien language word, and you would then discover more of these, or ruins, monoliths, and that will allow you to learn more and more of this language. So when you bump into an alien, he'll actually try and speak to you, and then you'll get a description of maybe what their body language is like, and then you can give a response, and if you give the correct response, you will gain something from them. And I like that. I do actually quite like that, because you kind of like, you're sort of half guessing and sort of then trying to solve what they're trying to say.
Lots of little puzzles and mathematical things and stuff like that.
To gain, like, say, more schematics and or locations of other things.
Or you'll find a distress signal that was long ago activated, and then you find a crash ship.
It's really good in that element of exploration, and it makes you constantly want to keep playing it, because you want to keep learning more and you want to keep crafting more. The only problem is that's about it.
Yeah,
there isn't much more. Like the space combat, you occasionally, which is, it's great when visually it is the most gorgeous thing ever. Like, you'll go into space, you'll see ships warp in, like massive freighters, and you're like, oh wow, that looks awesome. And they'll put out a distress beacon, and basically they're under attack by fighters. You can go fight the fighters and fend them off, and if you manage to kill them, I think you get a reward for it.
They are pretty hard though, aren't they?
Yeah, they're really, really hard, especially when I've only got like one gun and the rest of it I'm just full of carbon, just trying to fly around and hold the ship together. My ship's really shit. Basically, I found one which was my starter. I had my starter ship, and then it went onto my a crashed ship, and basically the best way to describe it was a box with a cockpit on the front and a thruster on the back, and literally it was just like, and I'm going along, like, and it had one extra slot, and that's why I decided to go with it. But and I then got bombarded by 3 fighters, and I was just like trying to fly away as quickly as I could. So in aspects of that, it's gorgeous. It's really, really good. The space combat is fine. It's okay. Nothing spectacular, but it does the job. The sort of terrain of the planets is very samey, I think, from planet to planet, but you don't, again, it hasn't really bothered me overly much, because it has felt different enough that it satisfies that it's a different planet. But it's good. I think this game is going to run out of its appeal very, very quickly once people realise that there's nothing else really to do. And I think, like I said, like a lot of people have said to me about like Minecraft, why do I like Minecraft? And I said to them, because it's very, you can explore, be very creative, you can build different elements, and it's also quite social, because you can join other people's servers, you can play it locally, and you can have good fun just generally with your friends. Now, this game of No Man's Sky does have exploration and everything like that, and collecting resources, but there is no creative element. There is no building.
Not yet.
Not yet. No, really, not yet. Or at least something I haven't discovered yet. There's no building. There's no sort of interaction with other players presently. Apparently, like, if you look up on the Facebook and Twitter of AlwayzGamezTV, Eurogamer did a post about how 2 people actually found each other on Twitch and they couldn't see each other. And now, it's weird how Hello Games haven't really said anything about it. They were just saying, oh, the servers were really busy, and everything like that. It's slightly lobby-based. And he actually turned around and said, oh, maybe some of you should just stop playing the game. It's like, yeah, you don't really say that to your consumers, really, to be absolutely honest. If you want people to play your game, not to not play your game. So that was a bit of a weird response. And I'm still, in all honesty, adamant that there is actually no multiplayer in this game. And until I'm literally going with the fact that there is no multiplayer until I'm proven otherwise. Yes, there is the essence of multiplayer that if you find a planet, you can name it or name the creatures or the items that you find, upload those, and yes, you'll see that person's name has named it. That's about it. I think that is all it is. And this sort of interaction from the developer saying, oh, well, there's a small percentage chance is great, but I don't know it sounds really horrible. I don't believe them. I don't think there is. I don't think at this present moment it hasn't been implemented, and they're just not willing to say it just yet. That's pretty much my wrap up on No Man's Sky. It sounds really negative. I played it till 4 o'clock in the morning last night, and I just kept on playing it, and I kept on going because I found the ship, and I was like, right, I need to fix the warp drive. Fix the warp drive. Oh, all right, I need to fix the lasers. Fix that. Oh, ooh, I kind of need this sort of element. Right, I'm going to do this, and you kind of want to keep going to gain more and progress further.
I can only do so much, and then I get a bit bored.
I can understand that.
Whereas with that Rebel Galaxy, I don't. I get hooked on that because it's just yeah.
I think that's the unfortunate thing is, as of yet, I haven't found any form of building, which I think this game sorely needs. It needs some form of customization, whether or not it's create your own base of operation, or maybe create a ship, or give even customization to your ship in some element.
Like Deep Space Nine. Then you could pretend to be a Klingon.
Yeah,
if you really wanted.
But it's trying to create that identity for yourself that you've created something, and then you could that's one thing with Minecraft is that people create things on Minecraft, upload them to YouTube, people watch them on YouTube, and then there's that social element then that people are looking at this and going, oh, I want to have a go at that, or just play with your friends locally or online that you can interact with each other, have a laugh with each other, build something together, explore something together. This game has none of it.
Well, it's a weird one because that kind of is the reason why I didn't want to purchase the game until it was like potentially on sale or after I'd heard reviews about it, because from what they originally showed us, they marketed it a lot as explore all these places, and they never seemed to really actually tell you what else there was to do. And so I always kept wondering about why a lot of people were super excited about this game, because you know me, I'm not pessimistic, Rob. I love all the 10 out of 10 games. You know, I play Last of Us and all the other good ones whenever everyone does.
Beyond Two Souls. Yeah.
And what got me were the biggest comparison I could see with this game, because I've heard a few things recently, like the news, like gaming news, talking about like how it's not a Minecraft game and stuff like this. Like they're similar to what you're saying, Rog, how they compare it to a game where you explore and you craft and you make it your own, like a sandbox, you do what you want. But the biggest comparison I've seen game-wise that this makes me think of is it feels like Destiny without the shooting things. Because it just looks like, because I didn't play a lot of Destiny. I got to like the end of, I forget what the expansion was called, some king.
Whichever you say, yeah, I didn't get as far as that.
A friend basically helped me understand what I had to do just to do the bits. I'm like, yeah, let's do this then, and then I never played it again. But I enjoyed it a lot.
Someone said to me, I was like, Roger, what are you doing here? I went, I have no idea.
Yeah,
I'm shooting them people because they're about to come through that door. And they're like, why? I have no idea.
But that's the thing. But it looked great, and it had a nice hub, and you could keep leveling up and doing stuff. So they kind of kept the entertainment going with that. You kind of knew what you were getting into. It just didn't quite push the boundaries of look at all these planets. Whereas this has gone, look at all these planets, but there's nothing to do there. And it felt like the hybrid of these would have been ideal, because Destiny got repetitive. That a lot of people do like dungeon runs and raid runs, very similar to like an MMO you would do to get better gear or do whatever. But that's a bit boring to me. I'd rather just be romping around doing whatever I want with a squad. Similar to like in The Division, you might do some stuff together there, explore for a bit, but it sounds like after a while that still seems like get together, grind for a bit, and once you've seen it all once, you will see it all again and again. Like Diablo, just different variations to get gear, and but people enjoy that. They like to get more powerful. But No Man's Sky seems like you keep exploring, but there's so many things. Even if you spend a second every hour or some shit, you'll see every planet. Never, because you'll be dead by then. Everyone in the world will be dead. Or whatever they said.
Like billions upon trillions and trillions and trillions of stars.
Oh, that's nothing, Mark. On the first day patch, they made the galaxies 10 times bigger. So
made it even bigger.
Everyone will be dead.
Dead. But it's just like I was thinking of what is this game missing? It's missing a creative element. because it's got everything else working great. Everything that it does do, like say exploration, surviving. There's an element of survival in it, which is quite interesting as well.
Can you take damage then?
Yeah, you can take damage. Yeah, you can get shot at. Your enemies can come after you. Creatures will come and attack you. If you're in water, you'll start to drown.
I've been shot down twice now,
Mm-hmm.
and I like playing this game called Asteroid. What's it called? Asteroid Chicken, where you boosters at full straight into an asteroid, and you have to shoot at the last minute and see if you can blow through it.
before it destroys you.
It normally works.
But yeah, so you've got fighters that will attack you. There's the environment on the planet, which could be hazardous as well. There's a lot of like suit upgrades that will help you fend against it, whether it's heat, cold, or radiation. There's multiple aspects of that. So there is a survival element to it as well. It's gonna get old very, very quickly. And like I was thinking the other day, what is this missing? It's missing the creative element. If for example, I could build a base. If I found a planet which was pretty cool, I was like, this is an awesome planet. I built like a hub base, and I was like, listen guys, you could all come here, and we could actually just like, well, I'll build a galactic trade computer. And if all you guys could warp to me, and you could literally use this as your standing base, and you could go off from there to other planets or other galaxies, that'd be awesome.
So I think building your own space station with modules, a bit like the Doom Snap map, but in space and 3D and all that, I think that'd be really cool.
It's missing that creative element.
Do you not feel that that's like a good element to add in, which they should have done by the sounds of it, to get something on there, but isn't that like just even the tip of the iceberg of things they should have added though? Because to me, like you're saying there, that it's quite short, you get bored after a while. Cause well, I know you're not bored, you have to keep playing it, but at some point you will probably stop.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I think
If you got everyone together to come to a planet and you built something like, oh cool, I'm going to go make something. If you all made something and I went, oh, do you want to come to my planet? Oh, come to my planet, but you can only build the same thing each. And then you go, but why are we still playing? Oh, because, good point. And then if you still just explore,
I think we're going to get that anyway. I think we're going to get that element of like, oh, why are we still playing? Like, because at some point, I think we're just going to get bored. And I'm wanting to get back on it though. Like I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I want to do a bit more exploration, and I don't really know why. Like I don't really. I want to say like, oh, it's because of this. I have no idea why I want to keep exploring this game, and it's very good. It's really, really good. I just don't know why I want to keep going back to play more of it, though.
I have this trouble with Rainbow Six Siege. Like, I've unlocked pretty much everything now, and I keep getting drawn back into it, and I have no idea why. All you do is shoot people.
But with that game, I find, like, especially with the terrorist hunt, and you're playing with your friends and stuff, stupid things happen because of your friends. Fun. Like, especially when you're playing with me, I just get things wrong. So it's kind of like I get blown through a window or something, and you're just kind of like, that's Rod. But
I think because of destruction, you can go in at any way you want.
And again, you're creating your own fun. With this, though, because you're on your own, there's none of that interaction with other players. And I think that's sometimes some of the best fun you can have is when you're playing alongside someone and something stupid happens. And
go on, sorry.
No, that's basically what I think is one of the things also which is missing.
It feels like to me that you've hit the nail on the head that if you could create something and get your friends to come to your location, the next stage would have been, for definite, to really want to explore it, they needed to build in more procedurally generated content out of like maybe a set of, I don't know, 20 things that could or might happen or anything like that. But if you were with your friends in those scenarios, it could be enjoyable. Like you're almost kind of making your own kind of like Star Trek-esque crew. You're exploring locations together, but you go somewhere and I don't know, there's some weird virus things on the planet. If you got some special medicinal things from the planets, you could help the creatures there. Or if there's any sign of intelligence, because I've not heard of that in any of the planets, they're all just animals on the planets.
There is alien life. There is interaction with other species, which is I got to admit that I think that's probably the most fun of the game for me. Is discovering and trying to, because they say they don't speak, you don't understand their language. So when they talk to you, you learn words. And then you can then sort of decipher, and the game will then change those words to be English. So then you could then sort of work out what they're trying to say to you, which I think that's quite cool.
Have you played the new Tomb Raider?
No.
Well, not the new one, not Rise of the Tomb Raider. Like
the remake.
Or the old one. Tomb Raider.
Very briefly.
Well, there's a system on that where you can find tombs, obviously. And they're like you don't have to do them. They're like side bits, but you can go in and explore, and then you get to the end after just like solving certain puzzles and stuff, and then you get a reward. I think they should add stuff in like that.
You're almost like, you could say even on the planets, if there was a situation where you came across like a vault, like not referencing Fallout at all, but I mean like you came across a vault and there was like an alien, Borderlands, yeah.
That's Borderlands.
Yeah, yeah, good point. And you were able to, like you say, like solve it and open it up and then explore it, and it would give you rewards for doing it. That something as simple as that would be interesting.
Well, that's like Destiny. That was a lot of like the quests and missions on Destiny was go to this place down here, the prince sleeps or whatever, go to his chamber and sort that out and whatever.
I think that there shouldn't be quests that you're aware of. I think it should be something you can stumble upon and find, and then it's like a mystery, like a side bit that you don't have to do, but you can.
But admittedly, we're saying all this, and I feel like I'm really coming down on the game, and I'm really enjoying it. I really am, and I don't really understand why I am, but it is good fun, and it is good to explore. I just wish there was more. But this is, in theory, still the vanilla game. This is still the point where it's still version 1. There could be big updates coming, we just don't know.
So what do you think, if they do DLC, what do you think?
I have heard that they're doing some form of underwater exploration system. So basically you can go underwater and they're expanding that out. So when you go into the sea world, you can go into it more.
Maybe they're going to do one called like Dawn of the Reapers, and then Mass Effect will happen.
Just basically it's actually an introduction to the next Mass Effect game.
I think this
would be awesome.
Big twist.
But yeah, overall, Matt, I think, to be honest, you've actually done the best thing, is actually not get it at launch. It is a very good game. Visually, it's gorgeous. I think it's going to get old very, very quickly, but I'll be interested to see what updates are on the horizon, because they need to add something else to this game just to bulk it up a little bit. And they've got it's almost like they've got a really good canvas down now. The canvas is perfect. They just need to paint on it and add to it in that way.
How much does it cost, though, to buy?
It cost me 40 quid.
40?
Mm.
See, that's my worry. I know we're saying that you would, buying at launch and things like that and waiting, but if that is technically like the quote-unquote finished game, like it's out of beta, that is the game you buy for 40 quid, if they do a patch that adds a bit in, that'd be nice, but it'll probably be seen as like an additional thing, or like DLC, like you were saying, Tom, that would you pay like 15 quid to get more content on the game that...
I'm kind of hoping they're free.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, no, I got to admit, I think it's a lot of money for what you get. If I'd have paid, it's no knock for indie games, but the traditional indie game price is most expensive one is about 25 quid, maybe 30 quid, something like that.
20, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, if I'd have paid that for it, I would be over the moon. I'd be like, this game is worth that price.
Yeah,
there's a lot there.
Right.
There's good fun, but I don't think it's worth 40, 45. No.
That's my steer.
If you pre-ordered it from Simply Games, that was about £39 something. But if you pre-ordered it anywhere else, it was £48. Like anywhere else.
Jeez.
It's expensive. It is quite expensive for what you get. But it's like technologically, it's great. Like the procedurally generated system is really good. It's like I haven't really seen many flaws in it, in all honesty. But yeah, I think overall it is a good game. But if you are apprehensive by it, just hang off for the time being and wait to see what maybe the future holds with it. I'm expecting a big content drop, maybe the back end of this year or possibly the beginning of next year. I'm just waiting for something like that to come along. But let us know what you think in the comments below of No Man's Sky and whether or not you're enjoying it, whether or not you bought it, or if you haven't, and why. Yeah. So next up on the Always Games TV show, we've talked a lot already. Wow. But no, the next thing I want to talk about is actually, we spoke about this last week, not last week, a couple of weeks ago, was Batman Telltales. Now, I finally picked it up. I've got episode 1, played through it, and I wanted to give you guys my impressions on it. Have you guys managed to have a go on the Batman Telltales game?
No.
No, but I'm excited because Telltale games are normally really good at the moment they're out there, and Batman seems like a good area for this because I never really got into the Arkham games. Like I tried a few of them and they seemed good, but nothing really drew me in other than the story and just being Batman for a while.
Just being Batman, yeah.
Yeah.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is abysmal and 10 is not bad, how good is it?
It's a good solid 8, pushing towards 9.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It doesn't do anything really new, I'd say. It seems to run really well compared to previous Telltale's games on the console because they always seemed a little bit choppy.
Borderlands was fine.
Borderlands okay. I found they always seemed to stutter, or it was like a moment there used to be sort of, I don't know, there were just elements between certain cuts. There was a bit weird.
Even on PC, it's like that.
Yeah, the engine just didn't seem to be overly optimized, really. I don't know what the hell they're doing. This is apparently a slightly upgraded version of the original engine. It runs much better. There's still occasional moments where I go, that didn't weird. But other than that, it works really, really well. The setting of Batman is perfect for this. Go on.
I know he's a detective, but I mean, doesn't he normally, like, every time you see him, he's just like beating someone up?
Well, you see, what I liked about this one, this is where the approach where they've gone with it, is that basically Batman is two characters. You've got Batman, obviously, and Bruce Wayne. And you are basically playing these two people almost... You can choose to play them exactly the same, and how Batman is, Bruce Wayne can be. Or you can play them differently. Like, I'm like not giving away the story, but at one point you're at a party and you're Bruce Wayne. Now, you can be the dumb rich boy Bruce Wayne, the utter douchebag rich boy Bruce Wayne, or the kind of nice guy, just polite, you know, like shake hands with people and sort of be that sort of Bruce Wayne. And this cat, yeah, she hasn't played Batman though, but she is Batman. And to be honest, the approach with this is really, really good. And then there's Batman where you could sort of play the vicious part of Batman. You could be really brutal. You could almost kill people if you wish to being quite passive, just basically be scary, which is like what you would say the traditional Batman is in the comics, not like the Batman versus Superman version, which is kind of the let's not really kill everyone, but let's pretty much kill everyone.
Well, he's had enough, and he wants to turn to the dark side.
But this approach for Telltales is just, it's spot on. It really is. I've enjoyed it. I got past episode 1, obviously. I think episode 2 is out at the beginning of next month. It's really, really good. They're really good. There's elements of the combat is interesting, quite tricky as well. There's some elements of it where you're fighting against some of the bad guys, and it caught me off guard a couple of times. It challenges you a little bit, but not so much that it makes it, you know, really, really hard. But just still, it took me a little while to warm up into it. The detective element when you're at a crime scene is quite good, because you have to sort of track and work out what's caused what in a crime scene, and then he'll basically like go to his, I'm going to call it the bat vision, and he can sort of see a ghost. What's out in the bat? He calls everything bat. And basically see the ghost of what the situation will have been, which will have caused that.
Yeah.
And just things like that. It just works out really, really well. And then the story of it, from this obviously this episode 1, it doesn't really do a huge amount, but what it's starting to initiate is quite an intriguing story.
So it sets the scene for the rest.
Really, really well. There's still, I wish whoever writes these Batman stories, whether or not it's the films or the games or whatever, we get it. His parents have been shot, and they go over it again, just like it's like again, not giving away the story or anything, but there's a character who's there who's chatting to Bruce Wayne, and it's like, in this situation, you wouldn't say what they say. And they're quite old, and they go, oh, it must have been hard when your parents were shot. And they sort of stood there. This guy is pretty much like on the verge of tears. This is during a party as well. And she goes, I'm being brought up all alone in this house by yourself after they were killed. They were an asset to this city. That must really hurt. And you can sort of bring Bruce just like, and get out. It's just, yeah, it was like situation like that where we were just kind of like, we get it. Batman doesn't have any parents. This is what's caused Batman, you know? And they did it with the Batman versus Superman film. They went back over the origin story a little bit. And they just need to now just basically realize that if someone wants to know the origin of Batman, just type in Batman on the internet and you will find it very, very easily. That was the only, probably, I would say, criticism to this, because you kind of go, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, we'll quickly skip over that bit. But overall, the voice acting spot on. Yeah. If you enjoy Telltale and you enjoy Batman, there's no sort of any better way of saying it. Just literally.
So, is that out on PS4?
It's on PS4, PS3, I believe, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PC, Android, and iOS. Cool. The cat's really not helping right now. So, Anyway, but yes, if you are interested in any way to play that game, just seriously go for it. You will not be disappointed.
How much is it?
I believe the season pass I bought it is about, I think it's between like 22 to 25 quid or something like that.
How much is the singular episode if you want to taste it?
They usually, I think they're about like $6.99.
Not too bad,
Along
is it?
those
Really?
lines. I think that's literally estimation. Don't take my word for that. But no, it is really, really good. If you enjoy, like I say, if you haven't even played any of the Telltale games and you enjoy Batman, try one episode of this. If you like Telltale but not too sure about Batman, just try one episode of this, because I think it'll pull you in very, very quickly. It doesn't do anything new, like I said, but the story is intriguing, and it's a lot, I'd say not a lot darker, because Wolf Among Us was quite dark in that aspect.
I haven't played that yet.
Worth playing.
Okay.
One of the best by far of the Telltale games.
I like Borderlands.
You like Borderlands anyway.
No, I mean the Telltale one in particular because it was funny. I don't
Played
know why.
episode 1 of that. Yeah, it was okay.
I don't know why I got.
I was never into Borderlands though. I was never really into it.
No, that's fair enough. The story, yeah, well.
I would like to see more comics though, like superhero films based in this Telltale style. I really hope that this is like a run. Like if we get season 2 of Batman, season 3 of Batman, I'm really looking forward to this. Could keep progressing forward and then introduce other superheroes along the way. That'd be really good.
It seems like they generally target comics, graphic novels. It seems then because we've got Walking Dead, which is obviously based on Walking Dead, Wolf Among Us, which is based on Fables, and now Batman. Borderlands was the only one so far, I think, that was.
I think Game of Thrones as well, which
Game of Thrones,
technically based on a book, I guess, but then with the TV series.
Yeah, and then it was
What about Minecraft?
the original ones were Back to the Future and Jurassic Park, weren't they?
We mentioned this on the last show, didn't we? Yeah, don't play the Jurassic Park. I never played the Back to the Future one. Apparently it wasn't very good.
No.
Very good. But
What was the Minecraft one like?
oh yes, Minecraft.
Yeah.
Never played it.
No, I haven't played that. It looked like it'd be alright, but it seems aimed at kids. in my-
Yeah.
Much younger audience, I think, probably that target. But this one isn't, I'd say. Probably not as young of an audience. Like almost like if similar sort of, if you like the Wolf Among Us sort of style of darkness, it's a little bit edgy towards that.
Yeah, that's what I assume. We say like it's like a 12/15.
Definitely, I can't remember if there's any swearing in it or anything like that, but there's certainly brutal beating people. Well, like snapping of arms if you wish as well and stuff like that. It's kind of like, ugh. But
Nice.
it's good. It's really good. Really, really good. Worth picking up, at least on episode 1 to give it a try. I've thoroughly enjoyed it and I can't wait for the second episode. It's pulled me back into that style of gameplay once again. I haven't played the Telltales for a little while, and it was nice just to sit back and enjoy the story.
You don't have to do as much, do you? You don't have to sort of.
Oh, it was literally, I just played a little bit of Witcher 3 Game Plus mode. So obviously that's quite, you're obviously constantly controlling the character, which you do in most games. But going from then that to this, it was so relaxing. You could just literally sit back with your feet up, coffee, and just sort of like wait. And it was only then when there was a fight scene, you had to sort of maybe do a bit more with it. And then you could just literally take your time with the conversations. And it was good fun. Yeah, really, really good fun. Worth a purchase, I'd say.
Yeah, to me, they're the best current like games where you get a lot of games and they say, oh, it's like a movie experience, stuff like that. I think the Telltale ones are the better ones that you get invested in the story because the choices you make and the action bits that pop out of nowhere. I prefer them to when they do an action game, but then take away a lot of the action from you and put you in a corridor, which is just cutscene in the corridor.
Yep. Yeah, because we go from like one extreme to another in those games where you've got all that freedom and it's like, well, now this is going to be a quick time event. Whereas if the game's always like that from the beginning, you're not going to be disappointed because you know what you're getting into. I always think the Telltale games as well is a great selection of games to introduce to people who don't play video games. And like if you've got a friend or who's into, well, I think now they've got a reasonable selection of like styles, whether it's Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, they say, things like that. Even if they slightly, because I had a friend who also likes Batman, but she doesn't play video games, and I was like, just if you get a chance, just have a go on somebody's console because like it might get you into video games, and I think you'll really enjoy this, and they're kind of easy to play, which kind of helps. There's no right and wrong way around playing them because it all comes on your decisions, and I think that's what I think a lot of people who don't usually play video games, which will really, really appreciate. But anyway, so that wraps us up for the second topic. And finally, this is coming down to you now, Mark. third and final topic.
Shampoo.
Yes. Don't know what to say now.
Like beard shampoo.
Beard shampoo.
Yeah.
Beard shampoo. What do you use on? What do you use? Do you like use any sort of shampoo on your beard? Because I don't use it. I just use like standard soap.
Well, I should shave more often, to be honest. This is, it just depends. Normally, well, I'll tell you actually. Little secret tidbit fact of the week.
Go on.
I normally wash my head and my beard / chin with just conditioner.
Oh.
Because I just feel it just maintains the skin better, and then you get a bit of a soft
Not
little
bad.
soap as well.
Yeah, it's not a bad shot. Because I always wanted to I always use like normal soap, right? And it like dries my skin out, and and I was like, do I use like body wash? Do I use shampoo if it gets really really long? And just didn't really know. Yeah. One beard man to another. You see, Tom, you're out of this conversation. One beard man.
I think you meant to oil them if they get long enough.
Really?
Yeah, beard oils, mustache oils especially. Get a little brush it in. I mean, this is just stubble.
Well, I prefer stubble. Like, I feel it's easier to sort of maintain it, really. But if it gets a bit long, I've got really thick hair, so they're like, well, not on my head. This is really fine. But up here, the hair bit is when it gets like a few millimeters long, it starts digging in. It's so freaking itchy. Can't stand it. Anyway, welcome to the Always Games TV show, where we talk about video games and extra stuff. So yeah, topic 3, and it's not about shampoo, is rumours on the Nintendo NX. Now, this was through Eurogamer, through some sources. Basically reported that the NX would be a portable device and would have the capability of having controllers plugged into it and have been able to allow it to be accessed to your TV through the connection.
Is this for like Mario Kart 25 or something?
Probably. But, obviously this is purely rumour-based. Like, we don't know whether or not it's not been confirmed. But what would your opinions might be for the next console from Nintendo that would be portable and home console?
Buy your shares in Nintendo now.
Unless they don't own the company that have created the console.
True. Because I was, I won't lie, I was a little let down when I heard, I say the rumour, but I'm pretty sure it's been unofficially confirmed from some of the patents and things they got out in the last couple of years, and something they said at recent events and stuff. I can't remember what it was, but it did seem like they were hinting it was going to be this handheld was the next thing they released, but could also be used at home, was the aim they were going for. They want basically I say iPad market, but there's not really an iPad market these days. You get a phone that's as big as your face, and that's about right. But I'm excited for it because I think Nintendo makes better games for their handhelds generally because more people will buy a handheld these days. Because, it sounds daft. They said that the new Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild would be on the NX and the Wii U, and the NX is supposedly the same power as the Wii U, but you can take it with you. And because that game is basically Nintendo's Zelda version of Skyrim with Zelda elements, that game would sell very well if you already owned a Nintendo console. But most people aren't going to, because if you've got your PS4, you don't really need another console that's not as good as the PS4 power-wise and doesn't release the new Call of Duty and stuff like that if they're the games you primarily play for it or whatever. But I find Nintendo always goes quite well if you're like a PC owner, or you would normally have a console and maybe a Nintendo handheld, so you get most of the experiences. Because you recently, Roger, got a DS, didn't you?
That's correct, yeah.
And it's that kind of thing where you can work for the back catalogue now and get about 3 Mario games and Mario Kart, all the other exclusives that just came out for this and the key games that were made for it specifically. They're always kind of they're made. My favourite Nintendo handheld was the Game Boy Advance, because that came out around about the time of the PS1/PS2. I think it was PS2-ish. And the power limitations on it meant it was basically the same power as Super Nintendo, maybe a little bit more. But that meant that all the games that were great on Super Nintendo got ported to the Game Boy Advance, and new games being made that were as powerful, you still got those good games. So then when the DS came out, it's about the same power as the PlayStation 1, so you'd be playing on your, I don't know, your GameCube and your Wii and stuff like that, but you'd still get those good PS1 style games on there that no one else is making anymore because they don't need to. Everyone's going, oh, PS3, look at the graphics, more polygons than you can, shoot your house with. I don't know what you do with polygons.
But no,
it's that kind of thing.
Like, obviously, well, it's clear within sales that Nintendo are strongest in their portable market. They really are. And obviously, in the last, well, it's only been the Wii U that's sort of gone a little bit south for them in recent years. It's, the Wii was absolutely amazing. GameCube, didn't do so well, but that was a little while ago now. But it's kind of, is this enough to bring? Have they burnt enough bridges now? Unfortunately, with a lot of the consumers, is this going to be an issue with people who are going to? Is this enough to bring back people to Nintendo? That's my thought.
I don't think you'll ever really bring people back to Nintendo. I think they've been very fortunate that they did actually invest like 30 million into Pokemon Go, so they have some investment in the thing, even if they don't own it and stuff. Because they said already that they want to be working more towards mobile games and things like that. They've always had this like really weird like way of releasing games. So a lot of companies used to hate making things for Nintendo because Nintendo basically have to sign off your game and say it's good enough for a Nintendo console. That's why I used to get like on the Super Nintendo and GameCube, I don't know if GameCube, maybe N64, it had like the little Nintendo like stamp on it on the corner, which is basically their seal of approval saying that this is a good game. So you'd normally get a few games and they were brilliant, but then the problem is every generation they've released those same games but slightly different, and they've kept going like you said, Tom, earlier, we're on Mario Kart 9 would be the next Mario Kart 9. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but it's still great. Like if you have friends around now, you can play the Wii U version. It's fantastic, but it's that question of why else do you buy a Wii U? You might get about 10 games for it, which is good, but that's about it. So the handheld normally is a bit more affordable price-wise. Pokemon Go's done quite well, which might get people into new Pokemon. If they released a really all singing and dancing Pokemon game, or it had GPS capabilities, and that was like a bit like Go, or it had some kind of integration to it, it might do well that way, because I love the concept of take it with you, play on it, bring it home, sit it down, put your pad out, or plug it to your TV, however it's going to work, potentially like that. That's got a lot of like merit for me, because the 3DS I don't think did enough. Like the DS, dual screen, good idea. The 3DS was just a slightly more powerful DS with a gimmick. I'd have rather that be the Vita. If it was a hardware of the Vita but Nintendo, it would have been amazing. But Sony always seemed to have the better hardware, like the PSP and the Vita were better in every field, but the library wasn't quite as good as Nintendo library. That's just because they're good at that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't think you get a lot of people like, they'll all know Nintendo, but like they're re-releasing that NES you can buy at Christmas, like that's got 30 games preloaded onto it, 60 quid or whatever. That's going to sell out. People buy that.
My only gripe for that is, I say, it's a shame they haven't implemented an Ethernet port for that. So then you could basically increase the library. That is only one aspect of that. I'm like, I think they might just miss out here of another opportunity, basically, just because if they added that and they're saying, and then every 6 months do a massive package download, we say if you pay £20, you'll gain an extra 30 games, and just do that. It's like every single time that would sell out left, right, and centre. But I do think it will sell out, but it's just a shame that it hasn't got that Ethernet to download more games.
Well, it's a weird one because the Wii and the Wii U both have the virtual console, they call it, where it basically is the licensed emulators and all the old games. Like the Wii U version has actually some DS games on there as well, but they don't push that very strongly. Like, to me, market-wise, if that has been launched properly with real online capabilities and like your account and stuff like that, if you got your Wii U, but then you could play pretty much every Nintendo game to date that had come out before that, people go nuts for that kind of stuff, because that's what Nintendo always means for a lot of people. It's they love the old stuff. Like if you talk to a lot of people now, like a lot of people that aren't generally gamers, they still say, I love Mario. I used to play it all the time as a kid, or Sonic, hence why Sonic Mania that's coming out looks just like Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. Like it's that era of Sonic, because they went, do you know what? We've tried giving you guys what you want. We can't figure it out, so we'll just give you the old games again. Like, literally.
And like you said, like I hadn't really owned Nintendo for a little while now, because obviously there's the if you had a Nintendo account, if you download a game, is that saving it to your account or just the console?
On the Wii U, it's now your account.
Right.
And on the 3DS, it is. Anything before that, it wasn't, which was stupid. So everyone and their mums bought a Wii. But if you lost that physical console, that was your downloads gone.
So do you think they could pull this across to like Nintendo NX then? If you actually had like a game set that you downloaded, do you think they could bring it across maybe and put it onto the NX and say, listen, you've already bought this game. Don't worry about buying it again because you already bought this. And then they could implement, if it's portable, that idea, because they've just released Pokemon Yellow, Blue, and Red, I think, or something on the...
That's right.
Yeah, on 3DS. If you bought that and that was added to your account, you could, in theory, play it on the NX because it's a portable device.
Yeah, and that's what I think they should be marketing it at, because people like Pokemon. Like, it's just become really apparent now that people will play Pokemon. They loved it before, or if they never played it, they'll try it for free on their phones, but they won't buy an NX outright. If you say to someone on the street who plays Pokemon going out, I actually been liking Pokemon, are you going to pay 250 quid to buy an NX? No. I'm going to get Snapchat on and Instagram and just use my phone. That's what they're quite happy doing. But
I'm just juggling a cat right now. Right.
For
all the audio listeners, we've got my cat just literally just not deciding what she wants to do.
But no, I think it's got a lot of potential, but my worry for Nintendo is, as time goes by, unless they can pull out another Wii, they won't hit it big. And I think the NX is a safe bet, because anyone who bought a Nintendo handheld in the last 10 years will probably buy an NX at some point in the next 10 years, because it's another handheld to buy some games and just play some Nintendo on, because they're good for like holidays, traveling, sitting in bed on the sofa, whatever. They're quite cheap. They're normally like, they're non-committal, whereas not a lot of people bought a Wii U because that was sold as, well, I don't know, it wasn't marketed very well. It was basically like the new GameCube. But
my concern as well is with this idea. It's a great idea having it portable and then plugging it into your home and everything like that, your home TV. Obviously, what was lacking from Wii U was third-party support. I don't think this is going to pull them in either. I think this is going to be literally a Nintendo device with Nintendo games on it, and there's not going to be any element of... Basically, you're not going to see a Call of Duty on it. You're not going to see anything along those lines, which is a shame because, again, that could help pull in a few more players. I think where that Nintendo's going is it's going to take a couple of consoles now, of good consoles, for them to gain that trust back. Now, if this is a success, brilliant. And then if the next console is a success and sells really well initially, then I think they're going to be back on with the roll and everything like that. This is basically a situation I think they need to treat it as, let's have that trust. We're still good here. Have this. And that's going to then start building that trust back up slowly. But I don't think you're going to see a massive influx, like you say, back to Nintendo in this generation of console. It'll be just interesting to see how it plans out. Like, I think as well, like on the source, it said there's 2 ports for the controllers. Now, if that is correct, then there's obviously what's going to work from Mario Kart. Like, so that again, it's still rumorville, but that's what I read on the Eurogamer article.
Yeah,
there's 2 ports.
I saw some like weird spec diagram thing where it showed like the controls on the side of the device. It was like an iPad kind of thing in the middle. I didn't know if the ports were related to those 2 halves of it, like if one's your buttons and one's your analog stick or whatever. We're a bit confused on the overall design
I'm
choice,
interested to see how this sort of is put together and how it's going to work and how because one thing that Nintendo do get right is local play, local co-op, local fun with players, with actual other gamers actually in the same room, which I think maybe some of the consoles have forgotten in recent years and just starting to gather that this is still a thing. Nintendo still realise that this is one element that they hold really, really strongly, because obviously, Mark, when we all meet up, you bring your Wii U around and we pretty much play that all night, because there's no, like, one, it's good fun, and 2, there's nothing else on any of the consoles really that we can play. And to be honest, I think that's what Nintendo really need to latch on, is this play with your friends in a non-dirty way.
I think
maybe not use that caption.
Play with friends in a non-dirty way. Nintendo doesn't condone this. Stop that.
Don't touch.
I think it's one of those things again where they push that a lot with the handheld consoles, because a lot of games, they did it with like the 3DS, the Monster Hunter 4 release, 'cause it's massive in Japan, because in Japan handhelds are a lot bigger because space is an issue. So a lot of people don't actually get like a TV in their bedroom, for example.
Plus, I imagine transport as well, because there's a lot of train transport over there as well.
Exactly. Very, very big on like the manga books or like the thing ones are a lot smaller than what books we'd buy a comic or something. It's all about size space, and you'd normally go to a local arcade to play a lot of games there rather than own a lot of them. But you can own a handheld for definite because you take that where you want. And Monster Hunter 4 came out and was a big hit in like Europe, America, and Japan. But the main concept of that was you could play like you take down the monsters together and stuff. You can have a party of 4 maximum, and you can do online lobbies and things like that. But you can have local ones as well. And they used to do events for them where they'd say, right, at this event, come to it now, we're having like a bit of a gathering session, stuff like that, come together and we'll play Monster Hunter together. And you like, have your LAN party almost. But because it's just your 3DS, just in your pocket or in your bag, you can quickly rock up there. Like Pokemon Go seems to be doing this now where it says Pokemon Go event, let's all meet up together and we're going to go put some lures on this and stuff. And because it's your phone, you can go there and do something. You feel
Happens in my local town. Happening now, like within, there's actually a Pokemon Facebook group for the local town, and they meet up every like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I think, and they go around, they move around all the Pokestops, do the gyms, and it's like it is very interactive with other people, and I just hope to keep pushing that with Nintendo NX. But we'll see. Let us know in the comments below what you think to Nintendo NX and what you think to these rumours and whether or not your hopes and dreams are going to come with it. Let us know in the comments down below. Now, Tom, we said this about last week, actually. This next section. About this would be for comments.
There's another section?
Yes, there is another section. I surprised you. I surprised you last week with it. I'm surprised you again.
Oh, okay.
So, basically, people will write in and ask us a question or give us an idea of a topic to talk about in the last section.
Did someone write in?
No. So we still haven't got anything to talk about. But seems that Mark brought up Monster Hunter Shampoo. Is there a new Monster Hunter that's been released on 3DS?
Yes. There's a new one coming out. Frontier, I believe it's called.
I've never played Monster Hunter.
What is
ever.
It?
Have you ever played it, Mark?
Yes, I've got Monster Hunter 4 and I got Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate and Free Try, which was the Wii U and the Wii version.
It sounds like a more violent version of Pokemon.
Could you explain to me and Tom, because I haven't played it either, never played Monster Hunter. So, Mark, you've got the floor.
Okay.
You need to sell. What platform is it on 3DS? You haven't got 3DS, but don't matter. Pretend that he's got a 3DS, okay? You have to sell Monster Hunter, the new one, to us. What is it?
Monster Hunter is basically it's a hunting game where you will rank up your hunting points by taking down bigger and bigger prey that you're set on missions to go and either capture or kill. Think of like a boss fight in Dark Souls, where you basically want to make sure you're geared up in the best way to find that boss. It's a hard boss. It's set in, for each fight you have, there's a map area with like there's different zones in it. The monster could be in any one of those zones. You have to find it, and when you're fighting it, there is no health bar, so you don't know how damaged it is or where it's at, other than the way it reacts to things. So they're normally quite like dinosaur-looking things or stuff like that. You'll be fighting this thing, and it'll do a lot of damage to you. Before the fight, you've got energy, you've got health, and you've got your weapon durability and stuff like that. You'll sharpen your weapons. You'll have caught by killing like little animals and stuff like that. Cook the meat to eat to get your energy up. You might make potions with local mushrooms, things like that, to restore health or give yourself a speed buff or something for half an hour. And you can mine ore in the same locations to give yourself to build good gear to use. So you'll decide what kind of weapon's suitable for that fight, set up for it. Mission starts, you get your time limit, off you pop, find the thing, fight it. During the fight, you might knock you away, you might fall down from the zone, you might run away to a different part of the zone, and you'll basically hunt it down and either catch it by weakening it so it's like limping, it's really like struggling now, it's frothing at the mouth or whatever, and you'll either set a trap or dart it with something, or you'll just kill it and that's the mission. Once it's dead, you can then harvest from it, and there's a chance that it will drop certain parts when you harvest from it. To make certain special gear like good weapons and good armor, you'll need multiple parts like bones and skins and stuff like that, and you'll take them back to the town, like your hub afterwards, to sort them all out. And before the mission in the town, you can fish, you can farm, and you can go to like the local restaurant thing and pay certain money to get a special meal fed to you that'll give you certain stat bonuses or buffs before the hunt. If you go as a 4-man group, it's literally the same thing. It's just 4 of you trying to take it down.
So then, well, and if you take down a monster, what do you get?
So you'll get mission points for defeating it. So if it's the first time you've defeated that one, normally you have like 10 per rank. Defeat all 10 and then do one special mission. Once you've beaten that one, you move to the next rank up to get to the bigger and bigger monsters because they go massive by the end. But you also get all the stuff you've harvested from it. So if you're trying to go, do you know what? I can do the end boss now for this rank, but it's really, really hard. I need to get a better weapon. I've checked at the guy's like blacksmith stand, and he says that if I get him 10 Ginormosaurus's bones or something, made that up, in case you're not guessing, he'll make me this like special massive hammer to use, or a new axe or a bow or something like that. So I'm going to go hunt down this monster as many times as I need to get enough bones to bring to him, and then pay him money, which I've got by doing the missions as well, and get it made, gear yourself up, off you go.
Oh, brilliant. Because it's one of the sort of games which sort of bypassed me, because it was originally on PSP.
Yeah.
And it was just one of the sort of things you hear so much about, like, oh, wow, monster. And it just, unfortunately, it's just one of the sort of games that just passed me by. But I heard of it, obviously now, like you say, I've got a 3DS in the last couple of months, and so I've heard it's on the horizon. I thought, is this probably a time to get into it?
I recommend it. I wouldn't get the new one. I see if you can get the current one cheap, because people still play it now, like constantly, because it's just that kind of game where people go back to or they get really into, and
especially with the new one coming out, I can imagine everybody's going to be wanting to have a little refresh and go back to the old game.
But it's a fun game because I liken it to Dark Souls for the fights are that kind of intense, hard fight where you're really thinking, you're doing your dodge roll at the right time and stuff like that, and they're hard. Like, it's one of the harder games, but because you're cutting out all the middle content, this one's got quite a little storyline as well, where you travel to different towns and locations and stuff like that. But then just hubs for missions to fight more things. But you fight, like, you go to a different town that's like on a frozen area, and you fight this one creature. It's like a shark, and you're just going under the water, like you're in a frozen lake or whatever, and it'll jump up out of the water, and you've got to like prepare for it. And they've got phases, they've got different things. It's basically like learning hundreds of different boss fights just for that bit. So they're my favourite parts of Dark Souls. Normally, the rest of Dark Souls to me is getting from A to B, B being the boss, and in between is just the hell that is, you're going to die a lot, just figure it out and get through it. At some point, you will be out of Blighttown.
My aspect of Dark Souls was just literally to get to the next bonfire. I was just like, oh my god.
Just sprint.
Yeah, just literally like, no, thanks, Matt, for that. Because, like I said, each one of the games has just bypassed me, and that's just filled up a nice little bit of the topic at the end. So yeah, so a nice little bit at the end. But no, thank you very much, Mark. So if you do have any questions, or I'm just trying to get my wire from underneath my cat so it doesn't pull it out. If you've got any questions for the Always Games TV show, please leave them in the comments below. Or if you want any topics brought up at the end of the Always Games TV show, just let us know down in the comments below, and we will happily read them out if they're clean. And if they're not, then we'll still read them out anyway. Well, guys, thank you so much for tonight. That was episode 13. Nothing has gone wrong as of yet. Like I said, we've got my black cat Minnie just chilling. She's been misbehaving a little bit tonight, but she's doing all right. So, yeah, we're good. Anyway, Mark Stevens, thank you so much for tonight. We can check you out on Twitter, which is Tremendous Mark, and keep following on there. So if you do any more live streams, I'm sure you'll post them up on there, I presume.
I should do. I haven't done.
No worries. And over to Tom Simpson. Thank you so much once again. So he's quite cozy like around here. I'm going to get closer. Get close to me. I can't freaking move. Anyway, thank you.
All right.
And we can check Mark out on Twitter, which is Outcast Reaver. You were going to change that last week.
Yeah, you can't change your actual name.
You can change the app.
Yeah.
You at so.
How? I did look on the app and it wasn't.
You go through the settings.
Yeah.
And then you type in, and if it's available, it'll say if it's available.
Name, but it won't let me change the app bit.
Oh.
Unless I need to
I'll
go
have
on
a
the
look at
website. I haven't been on my computer in ages.
I'll check it out. I'll have a look at it. Have you thought of any more sort of names that you might use?
No.
You're getting tired, aren't you? Oh, you're getting tired. But thank you very much, Tom. We're going to order a takeaway now.
Oh.
Yeah, calzone. And you can check me out on Twitter at the Geekkeeper. I'm tweeting up random. I seem to be tweeting more recently than I ever have done. Just, I don't know. Just seems to be
Random crap.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's like usually a lot of gifs, sort of
Maybe,
expressing my
yeah.
feelings.
Filling yourself up with garbage, and you just need to release
Unleash
it
it on Twitter.
Yeah.
So if you want to see lots of garbage, check me out on Twitter. If you want to check out Always Games TV, head out over to
Do it.
do it now. Head on over to www.alwaysgamestv.com and we basically put up all our articles, videos up on there. Also, if you want it to lead onto your YouTube feed, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Twitter at AlwayzGamesTV, our Facebook page as well. Don't forget to like that. And you can check Minnie out, the cat, nowhere on social media. She's sometimes on my Instagram, but I can't remember what I'm called on Instagram. I think it's like Roger_ the Geekkeeper or something along those lines. But yeah, so yeah, that sums up the wraps it all up for the 13th episode of the Always Games TV show.
Awesome.
Nice. We'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Right.
You don't want to talk about what?